Hello and welcome to Delicious and Nutritious. My name is Chef Jerry Levine, and I'm joined with Marcia Richards, registered dietitian from Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital in the great town of Plymouth. A special thanks goes out to PAC TV and the Center for Active Living for helping us bring this show to all of you. We are going to be doing today a very nice recipe called Creative Arugula Spinach Salad. And I'm going to turn it over to Marcia right now. So Marcia, take it away.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. So we'll watch the video of this delicious recipe that Jerry's doing. And then when we come back, June is National Egg Month. So we're going to talk about how it's been termed the incredible edible egg and talk about some of the health benefits associated with eggs. They're not the bad guys like they used to be. So with that, let's see the recipe and then we'll come back to me.
Today we are going to make a really creative salad, and I call this Creative Arugula and Baby Spinach Salad. And it's also going to have some hard-boiled eggs and chickpeas. And look at these beautiful colors. We've got oranges and reds and the chickpea color, which is kind of a light brown. We've got two different types of greens. This right here is our arugula as well as baby spinach. And we have some basil. And first thing what we're going to do is we are going to make our dressing. All right. What do we have in our dressing? First, we have our little dressing bowl, and we're going to put in some kosher salt, some black pepper, some balsamic vinegar. Oh, does that smell good? Extra virgin olive oil, only the good stuff. Lemon juice, and finally a little bit of vinegar. And this is an Oriental rice wine vinegar. And that's going in right now. And we're going to stir. Notice I'm not using any thickener of any kind because I don't really think we need it. So, but this will separate on you. So what you want to do is I would put this into my salad after I put the whole salad together and mixed it all, and then I would put my dressing on top. So we're going to put this right here for the moment, and we're going to get our salad bowl with our baby arugula and our spinach in here, and we're going to do a couple of things. I want to make a little bit of room here so I can show you some ideas about cutting. And you'll notice I have cherry tomatoes, and I didn't use all my cherry tomatoes because I want to demonstrate a method of cutting. Okay, knife, sharp. I sharpen my knives before I use it. Look at how easy it goes through the tomato. And the tomato's soft. So if the knife isn't sharp, it's not going to go through. And you'll notice that it's doing this. Notice how I'm curling my fingers just to keep them out of the way of the blade. Okay. So we're almost done with this. And these are great little tomatoes, and they are nice and sweet, and this is the right time of the year to have these guys. Okay. Nice yellow pepper. And what are we going to do with this? You notice the size of the piece of the yellow pepper? And it varies in size, but that's all right. So now watch me cut. And I'm going to show you a quick way of doing some dicing. And you know, cooking should be fun and it should be enjoyable. So we don't want to make it difficult, but we want to make it enjoyable. Now watch. The knife goes forward and slides along, but it's only going to work with a good sharp knife. Now I take my knife and I slide it. Notice how it's picking up all the pepper. There we go. And now we are going to take our bowl with our arugula and baby spinach, and we're going to put in the pepper. We're going to put in the tomato. Look at how the colors are coming out here. And chickpeas. Oh, nice. Okay. We're going to put this off to one side. We're actually going to put it right there. Now, hard-boiled eggs. How do I do a hard-boiled egg? I like to take my raw egg, put it into a pan, put enough water just for about an inch above that, and then put it on and start heating it. When it reaches a simmer, I let it simmer for 10 minutes. Then I take my pan and I bring it over to my sink and I run ice cold water into it. And I do that for maybe 8 or 10 minutes. So now what has happened is that the eggs are cold. And what I like to do is, now we've got an egg with shell on it. Of course, this one has already been taken off. So you bang it against the side of the pan or against the sink. And then when I take the shell off, I always like to do it underwater. So I put it back into the pan with the cold water, and I slowly roll my finger or thumb against the side, and then off it comes. All right, now I'm going to cut this up, and that's going to go into here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a very little bit of olive oil on my knife blade. And the reason for doing that is because I think it prevents the knife from sticking in the, there we go. And we're going to make it do this. And we're going to do this and this. And notice how gently I'm working with this. Okay. Cut it again. Rotate it. And now we take it and we put it into our salad bowl. Oh, look at the colors that are coming out of this. This is really good. Now, there we go. And a slice. And a chop, and a chop. And if you want, after you've done a quarter of the egg, put it in there. Flip it over. Get ready for another chop, and a chop, and a chop. And there you go there. Okay. Now, we mix. And we are going to take, and I like to use wooden spoons. But notice I'm being very gentle because I don't want to break up the egg. But look at how the colors are coming together. The greens are showing up. The arugula and the baby spinach are showing up nicely. You got red, you've got yellow, you got the chickpea colored. And what we're going to do to finish this guy off is we have a half a cup of fresh chopped basil. And look, the basil isn't cut very small, so because I want the flavor to come through. So, okay, we've got that in there. And we're going to mix it again. but gently, because I don't want to break up things. All right, what do we finally have to do? Well, we need to put the dressing on. So we give the dressing a stir, and if you look at it, you'll see that it's holding pretty well, and it hasn't broken apart. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to slowly move it around here, and I'm going to put that back down there. And finally, a little stirring, and look at the colors on it. Look at the beautiful colors, and look at what happened after we put the dressing on there. You're getting a nice sheen and a gloss to the whole thing, and oh, that smells good. I smell a lemon juice, I smell a balsamic, I smell the egg, I'm smelling olive oil, and once I start eating this, which eventually will happen, so I'm going to take and I'm going to put a small amount in one of our little glass bowls here, and then I'm going to hold it up so you can see it, because I want you to see the beauty of the colors. And there we go. We've got hard-boiled eggs, we've got a pepper, we've got a small cherry tomato, we've got, that's arugula here, there's a piece of spinach, a piece of basil, and the smells from the dressing. And that is it. And we now have a creative arugula and spinach salad. And that is it. This is a great meal. And it's good for lunch, but it can also be served if someone's grilling a steak. This would go beautifully with a steak. And oh, the smell is excellent.
That recipe is like, covers so much territory from a nutrition perspective. It is brain healthy because of all the leafy greens, the omega-3 fatty acids, these ingredients in the egg, which I'll talk about in a minute, that are also brain healthy. It is diabetic friendly. There is no added sugar. It is so good for your immune system. The yellow squash and the tomatoes are both awesome sources of vitamins A and C and various phytochemicals that will support the immune system. It is heart healthy because it is very low in saturated fat and it's also low in sodium. So eat that salad because it tastes absolutely delicious, but behind the scenes, it's also so good for your body. So good for your body. So I'm going to focus more on the egg, as I mentioned at the beginning. So let me share my screen. And the eggs got a bad rap for a long time. And now we're learning that they're not as bad as everybody thought that they were. So I'm going to focus on the incredible edible egg. Full disclosure, I got a lot of this information from a WebMD presentation focusing on the health benefits of eggs. And that was a couple of years ago, back in 2020. So one of the health benefits of eggs is that they do provide what's called a complete protein. So our body needs protein. Every cell needs protein. We need enough protein. I don't know that people need to be putting 50 grams of protein powders in their foods, but eating good foods, healthy foods that are rich in nutrients in addition to protein is going to be a good idea unless you've been advised otherwise by a healthcare professional. But complete proteins include all of the amino acids that your body needs to build a protein. And then we've got incomplete proteins that have some of them, but not all of them. But if you're eating a healthy diet, everything tends to blend together. But eating an egg will give you a complete protein. So it's a good thing to include if you're not opposed to it. Egg whites provide the protein. The yolk provides the fat. So if you enjoy eggs, but you're trying not to eat too many egg yolks, you can always do a couple of egg whites and one yolk, so you could reduce the fat content. There's containers of pre-mixed egg whites, so it's okay to have 2 eggs, but if you only wanted 1 yolk, that's okay too, depending on your own health needs, and you'll still get a really good product. Another health benefit of the egg is that they're nutrient dense. And what this means is that for the calories in that egg, you get a great amount of nutrients. A calorically dense food would be something like bacon that often goes with the egg. So bacon would be more calorie dense, that it tastes good. It's got a lot of calories. It doesn't have a whole lot of nutrients. So as you all know, I'm going to always be encouraging those nutrient dense foods and then those other things as treats. So initially when eggs were getting a really bad rap, what they've come to is that it might have been more due to the things that people were eating with their eggs. Higher fat meats like sausages and bacon, not the egg itself that might have been contributing to heart disease. So eggs are nutrient dense, and what this means is they have more nutrients, more vitamins, minerals, those amino acids that help to build proteins. When you have an egg, you get a high quality protein. You get a mineral called selenium, which is really good for your immune system. Phosphorus, another mineral, which helps us to use energy. Choline, which is another mineral that we don't hear too much about. And choline is really good for brains in grown-ups. And they're also finding it to be really beneficial in women who are pregnant to help the fetal brain. Vitamin B12 is a B vitamin that helps us to build new cells and use energy. There's also multiple other antioxidants, things that keep the bad things in check and the good things winning that war. We're always exposed to things that can harm our cells. Antioxidants help to keep our cells healthy. And we're made up of trillions of cells, and those cells need to be healthy for us to be healthy. Another thing we don't always hear about is they are finding in more and more research that eggs can help to lower a lipid level in your blood that might be checked once in a while called triglycerides. And most of the fat that we eat in foods and most of the fat on our body is in the form of a triglyceride. And there needs to be a balance. We don't want them too high because that can contribute to heart disease. The HDL and the LDL are 2 other tests that are done when you get a lipid panel. HDL stands for high density lipoprotein. LDL is low density lipoprotein. The HDL is called the good fat. The LDL is called the bad fat. Eating eggs helps to lower the triglycerides, and it also seems to benefit that HDL and LDL ratio. You can choose to have some eggs that are from chickens who have been fed a specific diet, so they might be higher in those healthy fats called omega-3 fatty acids. So they are finding that eggs might help that good cholesterol called HDL. For some reason, they've noticed that HDL levels seem to go up in people who have 3 or more eggs per day. The LDL can go up too because of the fat that's in that yolk, but the individual pieces of each of these HDL and LDL makes it harder for the bad cholesterol to hurt you and easier for the good to clear it away. So another way to explain that is LDL carries the bad fat to the vessels of your heart. HDL is working at trying to carry it away. Eggs seem to be helping with that process. Not all of us can support the calorie needs of 3 eggs per day. I don't want to promote that everybody now eats 3 eggs per day. 1 or 2 is fine. If you've got higher calorie needs, if you're very tall, if you work out a lot and you need that extra protein, then maybe it would be okay. But this eating those healthy fats is also a strategy to keep your HDL high, and exercising. Go for a walk, at least. Do something, always move, even if it's sitting in a chair, moving your arms. We can always move, and that's another strategy to increase that good fat called HDL. They have found that eggs might help to lower your odds of having a stroke. There are studies that vary on this, but it seems that a daily egg, 1 egg, might lower your risk. This was found in a study done among Chinese populations, and people who had 1 egg per day were almost 30% less likely to die from a hemorrhagic stroke than those who had none. Eggs can help with portion control. So each egg is about 70 calories, and you know exactly what you're getting with 1 egg. It's kind of pre-portioned in its own nice, compact little package. They travel really easy. Hard boil a couple, keep them handy for a quick snack, or to toss on a salad, or to make a sandwich out of. I usually hard boil about 4 eggs on a Sunday, and I have them during the week, whether it's a snack or maybe 2 of them as a breakfast with a piece of whole grain toast. And then if I'm home and I can make an egg, that's always nice, but a lot of times I'm at work. So I keep 4 of them handy in case my lunch is late or I'm running late and I'm missing a snack. They're a great thing to have handy. They're also affordable. The prices are starting to come down now. They had bumped up a bit. There was a shortage due to a health issue that affected many of the laying chickens, but the prices I've noticed are coming down at about 20 cents a serving. You really can't beat that cost for a high quality protein. And maybe you can get some local. More and more people I notice are getting their own chickens and having eggs. So I know I'm lucky enough to have somebody across the street that I usually get a dozen eggs from, 1 to 2 dozen eggs per week, which is always nice. Add a slice of whole grain toast, maybe some healthy fat from an avocado. If you like a little heat, add some hot sauce, and you'll have an awesome meal, a meal fit for a king, but at a pauper's price. You don't have to worry about added sugar or too many carbohydrates if you're diabetic or pre-diabetic, because eggs do not have either one. And this breakfast or lunch or dinner, for that matter, is also high in many other nutrients and fiber as well. So eggs, they are finding are healthy. Initially, they were deemed the cause of all heart disease, but they're finding that people who eat more eggs don't seem to have an increased risk of developing heart disease. People with prediabetes or type 2 diabetes were just as heart healthy after a high egg diet designed for weight loss. And in a recent Chinese study, people who ate about 1 egg per day were about 20% less likely than non-egg eaters to develop heart disease. So, but remember, it's just the egg. These are breakfasts that are not added with other high saturated fat and sodium meats. These are eggs with whole grains, with fruits, with vegetables, developing a healthier meal out of them. They're very satisfying. If you have eggs for breakfast, you'll tend to feel full longer because that protein hangs out in the stomach for a little bit longer. So you have a feeling of fullness for longer. If you feel full longer, it usually results in eating less throughout the day. And there was a little research done on teens, and teens who had an egg in the morning had 130 fewer calories at lunch. And I believe this was focused on poor sources of calories. Teens are growing and they do need a lot of calories. Unfortunately, sometimes the calories are being obtained from high sugar, high fat type foods. So if we can reduce those types of calories in those foods, that's going to create a healthier adult later on in life. Your eyes, there are antioxidants called lutein and zeaxanthin that help prevent cataracts and age-related macular degeneration. Green leafy vegetables like spinach and kale, arugula, are high in lutein and zeaxanthin, and eggs are also high because they do have fat in them, and fat helps your body absorb lutein and zeaxanthin. These are two fat-soluble phytochemicals. So having an egg is going to help your heart. It's going to help your eyes. It's going to help you feel full longer. It is great for a pre-diabetic or a person with diabetes, great for weight management as well. And they've also been known to sharpen the brain. They have vitamin D, which is good for the gray matter in our brain, which is important. And vitamin D is really hard to get from food. Foods may be fortified in vitamin D, and we can get it from the sun, but it's a tough vitamin to get enough of. And they also have this mineral called choline, and choline helps the nerve cells in the brain. And nerve cells in the brain are called neurons, and neurons need to talk to each other in order for all of our body processes to happen, for me to be remembering what I'm talking about, for Jerry to do the demonstration. Neurons are all talking to each other, telling us what to do next. And choline is something that helps these neurons talk to each other. And they're also finding that it's really important for pregnant women and breastfeeding women. So that's eggs in a nutshell, pun sort of intended, a little bit of a weird pun. They are just so very good for you. And that recipe just looks so delicious. And the colors are beautiful. You could have it year round, but like Jerry said, right now, those little cherry tomatoes are great tomatoes and peppers. All great things to add to your shopping list. So thank you all for joining us today. Jerry and I could not do this show without you or without Tom from PAC TV, BID-Plymouth, and also the Plymouth Center for Active Living. But most of all, we thank all of you for joining us because you're really what makes it happen.